Thanks for joining me today for this longer yin-yang style practice. We'll have some breathing exercises, some longer stretching, as well as getting a little bit more movement in as well. So you're welcome to join me in a cross-legged position to start, or any comfortable seated position that you'd like. I think it's a great option if you've got a rolled up blanket or a block. Put it under your hips just to raise them a little bit. It might be a little bit more comfortable. So we're going to spend a little bit of time at the beginning of this practice seated. And I really want to encourage you to find a position that allows you to breathe deeply and easily. So as you settle onto the mat and bring your awareness inwards, ignoring the sounds, the sights around you, you might want to lower your gaze, soften it, or even close your eyes. And I invite you just to focus on your natural breath without changing it, but just observing what it's like. How is your spine, your shoulders in this initial position you've chosen to be in today? There's no judgment. There's no expectation. But I invite you to just notice and be conscious of what your body, your mind is choosing to do. You've chosen to take this time for yourself. I invite you to take the time to thank yourself for that. And perhaps identify maybe what brought you to the mat today. What brought you to this video. And in noticing that choice, you might want to set an intention for this practice, for the day, whatever feels right for you right now. That might just be to be more present. Might be a mantra or a saying that is something quite close to you. And as you take this time for yourself, even in the minute or so since you've sat down and started to focus on yourself, have you noticed a change? Change in your body position, in your emotions, in your breath? I encourage you to perhaps sit a little taller. Maybe it aids your natural breathing, extending the crown of your head to the sky. Bring your head above your shoulders, above your hips. And with each inhale, visualize your breath coming in through the nose, down to your throat, your chest, into your belly. You might want to put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly, and feel the rise and fall as you breathe in and fill up and breathe out. Your body empties of air. I'll invite you to follow my voice as I guide you to lengthen your breath. If it doesn't feel right for you at any point, feel free to return to a natural but mindful breath of your choosing, something that makes you feel maybe relaxed and calm. If you'd like to follow breathing exercise, I'll invite you to breathe in, to pause, so hold that breath, breathe out, and then hold that out breath without adding any more or taking anything away before repeating and inhaling, pausing, exhale, and pausing again. I'll start with a count of 4, and then I'll increase it one at a time up to 7. So take a deep breath in and out. I'll invite you to now join me. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pause, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale. Take the next breaths in your own time, allowing yourself to return to a breath that feels natural to you. Taking some moments to notice, how has your breath changed? Or even has it changed? Perhaps it's a bit longer, deeper than it was at the beginning of the practice. Perhaps actually you're feeling like it's a bit shallow and rushed because that breathing exercise is maybe not something you usually do. But like with any muscle in the body, breathing muscles, diaphragm, pelvic floor, need training and strengthening. And so it comes with time and practice. Remember your breath is always there for you to help ground you. It's a reminder of the energy you create inside you, whether that's on or off the mat. We've been still for some time. I encourage you, take some light movement, maybe roll the neck forwards and to the side, making circles, maybe your shoulders, your back, just give yourself a little bit of movement, whatever your body feels like it's craving right now. We'll start to take some movement. I'm going to remove the block from underneath me. It's not super comfortable for me today, so take any movement that you feel like you need. And actually, I'm going to cross, and I invite you to do the same. My legs the other way. I always default to the same side, so this might feel a little bit weird, but it's all good. Yoga for the brain, yoga for the body. So on an inhale, I invite you to sit up nice and tall, lengthening your back, the crown of the head up to the sky, chin roughly parallel to the floor. Take a deep breath in, and on an exhale, round your back, tucking the chin, taking that cat position. And then inhale, shining the chest forward, nose up to the sky. Maybe you pull on your knees a little bit as an anchor. And continue with your own breath, exhaling to curl forward. And inhaling, shining the chest forward in your seated cat-cow. Taking the time, taking your breath. Doesn't have to be as slow or as fast as how I'm doing it. You might want to add some other movement as well. Maybe a circle one way, the other way, the other way. This is your practice to make your own. Maybe you feel a few crunches, hear a few crackles, your body waking up. Okay, on your next inhale, coming back to neutral, finding a moment of stillness before circling your arms up to the sky on an inhale. Maybe look up, and you're going to twist from your chest towards the right, keeping your nose in line with the center of your chest as you turn to the right, and just notice how far you might get. And take a breath here. You might want to drop your arms out to the side, reaching your fingertips away from you. Notice, does that help you go any further, a bit less? Then on your next inhale, dropping your arms to the ground. One, your right arm behind you on the ground, your left hand just on your right knee. Sitting up nice and tall. And maybe on each inhale, reaching the crown of your head up just a little bit closer to the sky. And exhaling, twisting a little bit further. And if you'd like a little bit more, you might want to turn the neck, the head, to look over the right shoulder. Not forgetting, every inhale, growing a little bit taller. And every exhale, shining the chest a little bit more to the right. On your next inhale, raising your arms up to the sky, coming back to neutral. Take a deep breath in and out before twisting to the left-hand side, shining your chest round. Reaching up to the sky, keeping your nose in line with the center of your chest. Your seat bones grounded to the floor. Maybe you take your arms out, again, fingertips reaching out to either side. And then relaxing your arms down. Right hand to left knee, left arm just touching the floor behind you, but not collapsing into your shoulder. Sitting up nice and tall and shining your chest a little bit further out to the left if you can. And on each inhale, lengthening your crown up to the sky that little bit more. And every exhale, shining your chest a bit further out to the left. Maybe for a bit more, you turn your head to the left, looking over that shoulder. And on your next inhale, reach up to the sky, twist back to center, and just drop your arms down. Oh, I think it can be quite intensive. Shoulders, back, any movement. Before we make our way into a tabletop position, I would say now is an excellent time if you're wearing socks to ditch the socks, as you might start to slip. So great time to do that. And make your way to the tabletop on your mat. So tabletop, your back is in a roughly neutral position, your hands roughly underneath your shoulders, your knees roughly underneath your hips. Imagine that you're balancing your favourite drink on your back. You don't want to be so rounded, you want to be dipping, you don't want to be getting wet or burning yourself with hot tea. We're just going to take some circles here, bringing some warmth into your wrists, going forward, maybe feeling the stretch on the forearms, and then reversing that circle, going the other way. And maybe forwards and backwards, just taking any movement, warm up your body. We're going to be on the wrists. Quite a bit of this practice. On and off, so I think it's great to warm them up. You might want to turn your hands out, so fingertips dialing to the outside of your mat. If it's too much to do both at once, do one at a time. And sway left to right. And if you have it in you today, you might dial your hands round. Again, so that your fingertips are facing your knees. Find this is a really nice stretch of my forearms when I lean forwards and back. And maybe bringing tops of your hands inwards to the ground. Creating just a little bit of movement. Maybe you lift one hand and the other up, giving them circles. You might feel some crackles. That's okay. Okay. I'm going to find some stillness. Push away from the ground. Keeping that back neutral. Balancing that cup of tea, that glass of wine on your back. And I encourage you to bring your right toes tucked underneath if they're not already. And extend that right foot out behind you, straight. So toes still on the floor, maybe you find some movement rocking back and forth. And then lifting that leg so it's roughly parallel with your hips. So we don't want to be arching the back and have it really high. Also not a problem if it's a bit lower, but roughly aiming for about hip level. And we want to keep our pelvis neutral. We don't want to be sinking and dropping that hips. That's going to upset our table and spill that tea. So your toes are dialed towards the ground and we're still breathing. You might want a little bit more and extend that left arm out in front of you, really challenging your balance. And on your next inhale, bring that right foot across to the left, maybe touch the ground, and then back up, move it to the right, touch the ground to the right off your mat, and back to center before coming back to your tabletop position. And we'll do the same again on the other side. So tucking those left toes under if they're not already, extending that left leg. Keeping the hips level, pushing away from the ground with your hand and your knee that's on the floor, and lifting up that left leg so it's roughly parallel, roughly the same level as your hip, and making sure that hip isn't dropping. We want both hips level on a level table. And again, if you want a little bit more, challenging your balance, lifting that right arm up and extending it out in front of you. And then the options are there for you again if you want. Challenge yourself a bit more by moving that left leg and touching the ground to the right off your mat. Lifting it up, touching your toes to the left off your mat. And coming back to the center, pushing that foot against an imaginary wall behind you. And coming back to your tabletop position. This might be a good time to come off your wrists, so I invite you to widen your knees a little bit, sink your hips back into a child's pose, shining your chest to the ground, maybe resting your forehead on the ground. Taking this time just to reset. Notice how your body is feeling. And this child's pose is here, or any other comfortable position. It's here for you at any point during the practice. When you're ready, on your next inhale, coming back up to a tabletop position, tucking those toes underneath and sitting back onto your heels. So there's I wouldn't say a knife, but it's an excellent stretch for the soles of your feet. I know some people who can sit like this super comfy. I am not one of those people. But yoga isn't just about what we like. It's about what's good for us. If you're finding this super, super easy, then you might want to bring your weight all the way back. Hands off the ground, maybe prepare position, maybe reaching up to the sky. Feeling the stretch. Maybe if your toes are all spread out, reaching them, even that tiny little pinky toe to the ground. If like me, this is maybe a light form of torture, you can have your weight further forwards, taking some weight in your hands, which takes some pressure off your toes and the soles of your feet. I encourage you to really keep a deep, steady breath here. Keep your focus and appreciate that you're stretching yourself today, physically and mentally. Okay, I think that's enough of that. We'll come back to tabletop. Maybe untuck your toes and just kick your feet on the ground a little bit just to release that tension that might be building up. Okay. Excellent. So we're in this tabletop. You've now got an option. We're going to head to downward facing dog. If you would like a little bit of extra fire today, you might want to tuck your toes. Just lift your knees off the ground just an inch or so. Or straight in downward facing dog, lifting your hips to the sky. You might want to adjust your hand position, foot position a little bit. And pedal out the legs. So here we've got our arms straight, pushing against the ground, aiming for a flat back, lifting our pelvis, our hips towards the sky. Like someone has attached something to your tailbone and is pulling it up to the sky. And there's no requirement whatsoever for your legs to be straight, your heels to touch the ground. It's good to have the intention, but been practicing yoga for years. Don't know that my heels have ever touched the ground, and that's okay. Still get a good stretch, still work my body. I'm still doing good yoga. Once you've maybe taken the movement, find stillness. Lengthening your spine, pelvis to the sky. Looking at your knees, your belly. And on your next inhale, take baby steps all the way up to the front of your mat. I like to encourage pushing my heels to the ground, or into the intention of doing so, just to lengthen out the hamstrings. We'll hang here in our forward fold. Your knees can be bent as generously as you would like. Relaxing the crown of the head to face the ground. Maybe taking some soft movement, moving from side to side. Clasping opposite elbow with opposite hands. And notice how your body feels. Your hamstrings feeling maybe a bit tight. Maybe it's your glutes. Maybe you're super chilled in this position. And I invite you to notice where your feet are. You don't have to move them. I think I default to having my feet roughly underneath my hips. But just notice. Now inhale, halfway lift, hands to your shins, extend the crown of your head out in front of you, flatten your back. And exhale, back down into your forward fold before inhaling into a standing position, arms up to the sky. Maybe you look up and exhale into your Tadasana, mountain pose at the top of your mat. So here, I think we have a tendency to just stand like we're standing for a bath. This is Tadasana, we're standing with purpose. So planting your feet, pushing away from the ground, lifting your arches, engaging those muscles in your leg. Quads, activating them, maybe you feel the ability to pull up your kneecaps. Maybe you feel it in your glutes as you do that. And then extending the crown of the head up to the sky. Thinking about your head, engaging those neck flexors, making sure that your head is not hunched forward, but drawing your head back so your head is above your shoulders, above your pelvis. And breathe. Breathe into your belly. We don't want to always be keeping such a rigid stomach. We want to be strong in all positions. So I really encourage you, breathe into your leggings, your shorts. Feel the roundness of your belly as you inhale. And the reduction in as you exhale. Maybe bring your hands to your belly and really appreciate this is your body working as it should. It's in sync. And it's there to fuel you and your practice and the rest of your life. And then bring your hands to either side, palms facing forward, active hands, spreading the fingers. You can breathe in and out. And this in itself is an active pose. We can feel our muscles working, keeping us standing here with purpose. And inhale, rise your arms up to the sky. And taking your left wrist with your right hand, bend to the right hand side, keeping your chest facing forward rather than turning down to the ground. Maybe you look up, look at your hands, Keep your gaze forward. And on an inhale, up to the center, swapping your hands if they're grasping your elbows, your wrists, and then bend over to the left-hand side. Keeping that chest open, facing forward. Inhale to the sky, and then on your exhale, dive forward into a forward fold. We're going to bring halfway lift, hands on your shins or your thighs, extending the crown of your head forward. And then exhale, down, plant the palms and step your feet back into a plank position and lower the knees to the ground. For this first one, always recommend not pushing yourself super hard. We're still warming up. So in this plank position, knees on the ground, straight line from the crown of the head to the knees. And then on an exhale, lowering all the way to the ground, elbows alongside the body. Maybe you untuck your toes and inhale into a baby cobra, keeping your hands where they are, lifting your chest up a little bit and introducing that back bend. And then on an exhale down, just because it's the warm up, we'll add another baby cobra on an inhale. And exhale back down. Tuck the toes under, come back through tabletop, and then lift the hips to the sky for your downward facing dog. You might want to adjust your feet, your hands, find that stillness, lengthening your back, pushing away from the ground with your hands and your feet, hips up to the sky. And this time, as you inhale and make your way to the front of the mat, you might take those baby steps again, or take one big step and join me in a forward fold at the front of your mat. Taking a little bit of movement, and I invite you to actually change your foot position. So if you notice you're in the same place you were yesterday, or yesterday in the last one, I'm going to heel toe my feet together. Just mindfully choose that different option. You don't have to. Just an invitation. On an inhale, rise up to halfway lift. Maybe hands are on your shins. Some people I know can have their fingertips to the ground in a halfway lift. And then exhale, forward fold, before inhaling all the way up. Arms above the head. Maybe you interlock the fingers or clasp your hands together and take a little back bend. This shining your chest, moving your whole spine up and over rather than collapsing into the lower back. And then exhale, come back to your Tadasana. You might want to shake it out a little bit. An itch, rearrange your top. Just taking some movement, taking a sip of water before finding stillness again at the front of your mat. We've just done a variation of a sun salutation. With that flow, we'll do another one, adding little options to create your own energy should you wish it. So inhale, arms above the head. Exhale, dive forward into your forward fold. Notice your feet. Notice I've gone back to having my feet shoulder width apart, which is totally okay. I'm going to leave them there. Inhale into your halfway lift, extending the crown of the head forward, flat back. And this time we're going to add a chair pose. So we're going to exhale to your forward fold. Inhale, rise your arms up into a chair pose, sinking your hips down. Like you're sitting on a chair. You can have your arms above the head, maybe in prayer position. Knees not falling in or out, keeping roughly in a straight line. Maybe for one more breath, you can sink a little bit lower. And then on an exhale, forward fold. And then root to rise. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay. Now, that sun salutation I promised. Arms above the head. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale. I'm going to step back into a plank position. Option always to lower your knees, but if you want to keep them up and lower to the ground for your chaturanga, or all the way to the ground, untuck the toes, and then inhale into a cobra, maybe lifting a little higher, pushing your hands into the ground. And then on exhale, coming back down and through to your downward facing dog, maybe via plank or tabletop position. Finding your downward facing dog, maybe some stillness. And this time you might want to step up to the front of your mat, or you might take a little hop or jump and meet me at the front of your mat in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. All the way up. Maybe you look up, clasp your hands, and take a back bend. Maybe it's a bit deeper than last time. Exhale up and take your Tadasana, mountain pose, active positioning. Choose whether you have your feet together, hip width apart, somewhere in between. Take a breath. Okay. Do a last sun salutation. I'm going to do one breath, one movement. So we're not going to be pausing in the different positions, we're just going to keep moving. And we'll take a little rest afterwards. So breathe in, root to rise, forward fold, exhale, halfway lift, and inhale. Exhale, plant your palms, step back to plank, and lower down to your chaturanga or to the ground, and take the back bend of your choice. And then inhale up to your downward facing dog, and make your way on an inhale to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise up to the sky. Maybe you take a back bend. And exhale into your Tadasana. I'm going to take some movement. My feet, my hips, for we're working hard. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit more standing sequence. And of course, we've had a chair pose, so we've got to have another one. So on your next inhale, arms up to the sky, and exhale, sink your hips down into chair position. And again, you can have your arms extending up, have them on your shoulders, prayer position. Sinking deeper, just a little bit deeper if you can, making sure your knees aren't going too far forward, splitting out or in. And then exhale, stepping that right foot, putting weight into your left foot, right foot back into a high lunge position, arms above the head. And then exhale, open out, pivot that back foot, open your arms out into a warrior two position, bending that front knee still, hips and chest facing the side of the mat, arms parallel to the ground, reaching your fingertips out from the body and looking over your left hands. And then leaning, flipping your left hand, palm to the sky, leaning forward as far as you can go. Excuse me. And then reversing that warrior. either having your hand on the back of your leg or wrapped behind your back. And then inhale, warrior two. Breathe here. On your next inhale, pivot that back foot back to that lunge position. And then step to the front of your mat, arms above the sky. Maybe you take a back bend. And exhale to Tadasana. We'll do that on the other side. So inhale, arms above your head. Exhale into chair position. Taking any variation for your arms. Being mindful of your knee flat, straight back. Sinking a little bit deeper if you can. Maybe this time you lift your toes off the ground. Maybe if you really want a challenge, you lift your heels off the ground. And then on exhale, step your left foot back into a high lunge position. Sinking down, back leg straight, heel off the ground, front knee bent. And then exhale into your warrior two, opening out to the side of your mat, front knee bent, arms parallel to the ground, fingertips reaching away from you, looking over your right fingers. And then flip your right hand, so palms facing to the sky. Lean forward as far as you can go before reversing the warrior, bringing your right arm up to the sky. Your left hand supporting you down the back of your leg or wrapped around your back. And then inhale back to warrior two. And then on your next exhale, pivoting that back foot, raising your arms to lunge position. Before stepping back, I'm going to step back into that chair pose. Okay, last chair pose, I promise. Of course, you don't have to take it. Inhale, arms up to the sky, looking up. And exhale, hands by your side. I'm going to take, you can stay at the front of your mat. I'm going to face you. Take just a tree pose now. Lots of options. So no, not a sequence, but just challenging our balance today. So I'm going to stand roughly, feet roughly hip distance apart, pressing equally into both feet, keeping the shoulders relaxed. Remembering your breath. I'm going to shift our weight to our left foot and just raise onto the right toes. We really want to be keeping our hips level here. We don't want to be collapsing. So I like to have my hands on my hips, at least to begin with, just to get that tactile feedback so I can feel what's my body doing. And then turning out that knee, right knee to the side. And this might be your tree pose today. Takes a lot of balance. You might be able to feel your core working. And how far out your knee turns depends on the space you have in your hips. And you might have done tree pose over and over again so many times. Use your hand, bring it up. But I encourage you this time to, if you want to explore this pose further, actually to keep your hands on your hips or above your head and just raise that right leg up so your foot is facing your left leg, and raise it as far as it will go, maybe to the shin, maybe to the thigh, whoop, but without using your hand. Training your brain, training your muscles to be able to do this movement actively rather than passively. And pushing that right foot into your left thigh and your left thigh into your right foot. The opposing force keeping you stable. And you might want to then move your hands to prayer position, noting that any movement is going to change your balance. And if you fall, that's okay. That's what practice is for. So yeah, hands to prayer, hands up to the sky, maybe challenging your vestibular system, organs in your inner ears that control your balance, challenging that a little bit by looking up. Maybe a Whomping Willow effect, and you move your arms. If you really want to challenge yourself, you might even shut your eyes. I'm not even going to risk that, but be careful of your surroundings and your balance. And you can always reset. When you're ready, on your next inhale, bring that knee that's out forward. Bring your knee to your chest and lower your foot down to the ground with control in your arms. You're in a bit of shakeout. I'm going to try it on the other side, and this other side might feel totally different. You might have better balance, you might have worse balance, and even just the fact that we're using our muscles to place our foot rather than our hands completely change how everything feels. Okay, so grounding into both feet evenly. Inhaling, exhaling, feeling your belly, fill your clothes. Your natural breath creating stability for you. And move your weight, shift it to the right foot. Lifting the left heel so you're on your left toes, and opening that knee out to the side. And I can feel my hips dropped. I'm pushing my hip out. I want to keep that straight line position, engaging the muscles to keep our hips level, our body straight. And then on an inhale, choosing your option, whether you stay here today, you bring the sole of your foot to your shin, maybe up to your thigh. Maybe it doesn't go as high as it normally would when you use your hands. Engaging the glutes, the legs, creating that opposing motion between the sole and the thigh, and then picking your hand position, picking movement, looking up, maybe, even shutting your eyes. If you want something a bit different, we're always told focus on a point, helps keep you your balance, which it totally does. If that's too easy for you, maybe look left, look right, look at something moving, challenge yourself. And on the next inhale, bring that knee up to your chest and lower your foot to the ground with control. Shaking it out. And we're going to make our way onto the ground, but with a little last bit of added activation. So arms above the head, inhale, raise onto your toes, keeping those feet, those heels from dropping out, keeping everything engaged in a straight line, and slowly lowering. So we're keeping our knees facing the front. You can have your hands above your head, on your hips, prayer position, whatever suits you. Lower as slowly as you can into toe squat. Then, as dignified or undignified as you like, flopping onto your behind to make it onto the floor. So I'm going to turn back to the side of my mat, and we're going to stretch out our legs in front of us, flexing our toes towards our face, sitting up straight back. You've always got the option for a block underneath your pelvis, just to raise your hips a little bit, because we really want to find this straight back. So if you find that you're not able to sit up straight and maybe you're hunching, your hips are rolling over, maybe you're more onto the upper part of your glutes, your sacrum, then block is your friend. Quite like it sometimes, just to change how it feels. Straightening out the legs in front of us, toes pointing towards our face. I'm going to bend that right knee. So the right foot is roughly next to the knee, the left knee. And then if you have the space to do so, you're going to move that right foot to the left-hand side of your left leg. I'm going to take a closed twist. So reach up, your hands to the sky, twist to the right, and then place one hand, your right hand, behind you, just fingertips. Depending on your arm length, you might want a block behind you. If you're like me with super long arms, I have my hand quite far back so I can maintain a straight position. And then your left elbow is maybe hooked around that right knee, maybe your hands on your knee. And if you can maintain this straight position with your back, shining your chest to the right, you might want to bring that left elbow to the right of the right knee. But we don't want to be using that to yank us to the side. We'll take a few deep breaths here, finding stillness. And on your next inhale, arms up to the sky, unravel, and turn to the left-hand side. To this open twist. Again, same with the arms. Bring that left hand behind you, maybe as fingertips, bit of light support, reaching the crown of your head to the sky, keeping a flat back. And then the options with your hands. Right hand on right knee, hooking over with the elbow. Or if you can maintain this upright position, you feel like you have the space to give you maybe a little bit extra, you can hook your elbow. Maybe you look over your left shoulder. On that inhale, arms up to the sky, unraveling, and maybe you help your leg back over and stretch it out. Point, flex your toes. Maybe you feel a difference in your right hand side to your left hand side. Now we've done that stretch on one side. And then we'll do the same. So maybe adjusting yourself on your block if you've shifted. Straight back, crown of the head up to the sky. And bring your left foot to the ground, roughly level with your right knee. And if you feel like you want a little bit more, you can bring that left foot over to the right hand side of your right leg, keeping a tall body. And then inhaling, arms up to the sky, looking up and taking that closed twist. So we're turning left this time, leading with your chest. And then dropping your arms down, maybe hooking the right arm on the left knee, keeping light on these fingertips, just there for a little added support. But you should be able to lift them up. Remembering to keep those right toes flexed towards your face. Maybe looking over your left shoulder for a little bit more. And on your next inhale, extending arms up to the sky and twisting to the open twist, right over to the right hand side. Arms above the head, lengthening the spine before dropping your arms into your position of your choice. Remembering, keep that back lengthened, leading that twist from your chest. Maybe looking over at your right shoulder. Okay, and on an inhale, arms up to the sky, looking up. Rotate back round, facing forwards. Unravel yourself, straightening that left foot. And then pointing, flexing those feet. One at a time, both at the same time, taking circles. I'm going to remove this block from underneath me. About to make our way to lying. You have the option. You can either lower yourself down gently, or you can add the last bit. Promise the last option for creating a little bit of energy in your belly. And keeping your back nice and straight. We'll lean back a little bit, bring our toes to the ground, and this might be enough. You might be feeling that through your core, your back. Think, I'm good here. I'm going to hold this. If you want a little bit more, maybe lift one foot up, the other foot up. I know a lot of people have the option holding the backs of their thighs. People like to have their hands in front of them, maybe up above their head. And I really encourage you to focus here on lengthening your back. And so yes, there's the option to straighten your legs, straighten your arms. But notice if when you straighten your legs, you end up rounding in the spine. This isn't working our body and the muscles intended nearly as well as this. So it's just about noticing and your intention. And then it's probably quite enough. You can slowly lower to the ground. Might be here, lowering slowly all the way to the ground. Maybe the hands stay above the head, taking a full body stretch for those of you who already made it to the ground. Maybe taking a little bit of movement, a full body stretch, before bringing your knees into your chest. Feeling the length of your spine across the ground. And your knees might not be as far in as mine. They might be tucked way closer than mine can get. Just whatever is good for your body today. Maybe rocking side to side, massaging your lower back, your sacrum. I invite you to drop your knees to the left-hand side. And your leg position can be anything you like. You can have your knees one on top of the other. You might want to just stagger your legs a little bit. You can even bring them super close up to your chest, straightening them out. Everything will feel different to different bodies. Everyone will want something a little bit different. But whatever leg position you're in, try and make sure that your top of your back, your shoulders, are still flush with the ground. If you want a little bit more, you might turn your head to the right-hand side, following your arms if they're out by side of you. Your arms might be on your belly or in your top leg. There's no right or wrong here. And on your next inhale, I encourage you to bring your feet back to the center. Come onto your back, tucking your knees into your chest, maybe taking a few rocks before exhaling and dropping your knees to the right-hand side. All of the same options that you had before, with your arms, your legs, trying to keep those shoulders onto the ground. And on your next inhale, bringing your knees back to center, neck back to neutral, looking at your heels, your knees to your chest. And here you have a total yogi's choice, maybe 8 to 12 breaths. Taking any movement you feel like you haven't today. You might want to make your way into Shavasana, have a bit of a longer rest. Maybe take your legs up to the sky, to like a waterfall sort of position. Be nice sometimes. Don't often have our legs in the air. Or bring your knees out towards your elbows, taking hold of either backs of your thighs, calves, outside of your feet, into a happy baby. Whatever option, whatever you feel like your body needs. Or extending out into your Shavasana already. When you're ready, I invite you to find Shavasana, lying on the ground, letting all your muscles, your whole body relax into the ground, feeling the support of your yoga mat, the floor. I invite you to have your palms facing up to the sky, just to represent your openness to new things, new experiences, the openness to listen to your body today and give it what it needs. And I invite you to lie here. I'll go quiet for a little bit before bringing you back. Allow your breath to return to its natural state. You don't have to control it. This Shavasana is a full body release. And I invite you to think back to the beginning of the practice. Perhaps you made an intention, and you recall it now. There's no judgment. Maybe you forgot you made an intention at the beginning. It's been a big practice, a lot to concentrate on. Maybe you had it with you the whole time. There's no right, there's no wrong. Just notice. And invite you now to start making little movements in your body. Wiggling the fingers, the toes. Starting super small. Maybe moving that into your wrist. Hunching and unhunching your shoulders, moving your neck. Before finding your way to one of your sides, so rolling on either your left or your right, curling up into a fetal position, giving yourself a huge hug. Finding gratitude for yourself, for taking the time for this practice. For making time in your day, in your mind. When you're ready, coming up to a seated position. Perhaps your hands are on your lap, or if it's in your practice, holding them in prayer position in front of you. Thank you for trusting me today with your practice and joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.